Let's turn to Afghanistan now. Taliban 2.0 has largely been Taliban 1.0. The same domestic policies, the same crackdown on women, the same persecution of minorities. But their foreign policy could be different. The last Taliban regime was pro-Pakistan and anti-India. They helped Islamabad stir trouble in Kashmir. But this time, they are keen to be on India's good side. Meanwhile, Pakistan has become public enemy number one in Kabul. How exactly did that happen? Let me tell you about Pakistan's latest move. On Sunday, they began expelling Afghan refugees. How many? The target is 800,000. That's how many refugees they want to expel. 800,000. Most of them had fled the violence in Afghanistan. But Pakistan says, we cannot host you. And there are two reasons for that. One, they cannot afford it. And two, the rising terrorism. Pakistan accuses Afghanistan of supporting terror groups. So they're throwing out Afghan refugees. And how has the Taliban reacted? They haven't said anything yet, but last time they were quite enraged. You see, Pakistan has expelled Afghan refugees in the past as well. They did it last year. More than 500,000 people were asked to leave. And back then, the Taliban had asked for more time. They'd warned Pakistan against making such a move. It's one of the many disagreements between them. Pakistan and Afghanistan have fought over borders, over trade, over terror, and over territory. The old protege has turned against the mentor. In fact, they're now keen to support from Pakistan's biggest rival, and that is India. The Taliban wants India's support. Qatar hosted a key United Nations meeting on Afghanistan recently, and for the first time, Taliban attended. India too was at the table. New Delhi was represented by senior diplomat J.P. Singh. He heads the Pakistan, Afghanistan and Iran division. Before the event, he had a meeting with the Taliban delegation. As always, New Delhi has tried to downplay it, but the Taliban is going to town with it. Look at their official statement. It says, India supported the Taliban's position in Doha. And this is not a one-off. We saw another example last week. Afghanistan had qualified for the semi-finals of the T20 World Cup. And who did the Taliban thank for it? India. Because the Indian board had helped out the Afghan team. Now, all of this makes one thing quite clear. The Taliban is keen to be on India's good side, to have exchanges and conversations. But again, two questions remain. The first is why, and the second is how should India respond? Let's answer the why first. India is the largest democracy in the world. It is also a major power in this changing world. So support from India is key for the Taliban. They can use it to claim legitimacy. Secondly, they need the financial help. India has invested more than $3 billion in Afghanistan. There are said to be 500 plus projects. Most of them have been stalled since the fall of Kabul in 2021. But the Taliban will want India to resume. And the final reason is Pakistan. During the last Taliban regime, Islamabad was better placed. Pakistan was a close ally of the US, so it could get money and weapons to the Taliban. But that's not the case anymore. Pakistan's economy cannot support its own people. It has also lost friends in the West. We saw Imran Khan trying to lobby for the Taliban, but nothing happened. The West simply ignored him. So Taliban 2.0 knows that India is a golden goose for money, for legitimacy, and for support. Now, how should India respond? How should India react to these overtures? Well, New Delhi is slowly warming up. We've seen more exchanges between the two sides. In June 2022, India reopened its embassy in Kabul. Instead of diplomats, New Delhi sent a technical team. In October the same year, a senior Indian diplomat traveled to Kabul and he held talks with the Taliban. In November last year, the Taliban took over the embassy in India. Until then, it was run by appointees of the previous regime. And this year, we saw another high-profile visit. A senior Indian diplomat traveled to Kabul in the month of March. He met the Taliban's foreign minister. So clearly, engagement is not off limits. But how should we see this? Well, the Taliban are the new reality of Afghanistan. Most countries have accepted this. And it looks like India is doing the same. At the same time, New Delhi must remember one thing. It has long-standing commitments to the people of Afghanistan. It has also invested a lot in their welfare. So any engagement must keep that in mind. Try to secure their interests along with ours.
and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Eric Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C.